everybody, we're in the Nights of the Drunk Watch. We just finished watching The Handmaid's Tale Season 3, Episode 8, Unfit. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Mark.
Mark's over there. We are in the Nights of the Drunk Watch. And now our talk begins.
So this episode was very dramatic. Very much a roller coaster of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So we first want to talk about Of Mathew.
Of Mathew. Poor of Mathew.
No, fuck Of Mathew.
But she bought into the society until she thought she was going to have a girl. So
she ain't having nothing now. So, Of Mathew was June's walking partner. She is no longer walking. So we're just going to go through her slow descent into madness. Slow.
That was very quick.
Well,
it was pretty quick.
It's okay. It was quick descent. So she basically tattled on June.
She tattled on June. She conspired with Aunt Lydia.
She conspired.
Plotting.
Yeah. And then she got the Martha killed, and the Mackenzies relocated.
Mackenzies took off because June is dangerous.
Right. So, because of that, June, who I guess now is the leader of the Handmaids, as it would seem. So she's
definitely pushing this whole resistance movement.
Right. Well, she's the one that's been televised the most, so she's the most popular one, I guess. So she basically had all the handmaids, or most of the handmaids, bully Of Mathew.
Yes.
And we saw a lot of that at the birthing ceremony, whatever you want to call it. And so they were basically just being mean girls to her. Mm-hmm. And so that got also, and then like you said, Janine, sweet Janine, or Of Crazy
Janine.
That's what we call Of Crazy. She was the only person to really stick up for Of Mathew.
Right.
A little bit.
Just because she's a little nutty and doesn't want anyone to be angry.
Right. She didn't put up a fight for her. She was just like,
she's like, stop being mean.
Maybe we should stop being mean. She said that to June. Nobody else.
June.
So she was bullied, and then, so because of that, Aunt Lydia, we took a little field trip back to the classroom at group therapy. Where we tried to shame June. That didn't go so well.
And then June sold out Of Mathew.
Yeah, she had that card in her back pocket
about her new pregnancy.
So they turned against her. She confessed her sin of saying she had second thoughts about having a child.
Yeah,
and then she kind of divulged that the reason she was concerned was she thinks it may be a girl.
Right.
And she knows what happens to girls.
Well, because basically this is what I think happened to Mathew.
Okay.
Yeah, because then in the end, I think June manipulated her to get her to lose her shit, and she was able to. I think if June hadn't manipulated her after this, shaming,
right,
she couldn't have signaled her to go after Aunt Lydia as the source,
right.
And I think what happened to Mathew is she bought into the society.
Right.
She bought in that this is what has to happen for the human race to survive. As long as she was having boys, because boys would always be elevated.
Right.
And the moment she felt her pregnancy was different, and she thought, well, if mine feels different, maybe I'm having a girl, and now I'm bringing a girl into the world, and the world I'm living really isn't that great.
For girls.
Because maybe she could accept her position because she did something wrong. I can't.
Sure.
She said what she did, didn't she?
I don't remember.
She stole a loaf of bread or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But now that she's bringing an innocent girl into the world, I think all of a sudden she's confronted with the fact that it's not good for women. Period.
At all. So that helped her kind of see the society in a different way. I guess. And so then they come back to Andy is having contractions again, and it's stillborn.
Yes. Umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's neck.
Which is unfortunate, and really is no one's fault. Actually, it is.
It was of Andy's fault.
what is she supposed to do about an umbilical cord?
Yeah, I mean that is the most natural of, and
right.
Surprisingly, stillborn. Yeah, I don't know.
But I think, we can go on whose fault it is, but there's not an on-site physician. It's just, there's no ultrasound. There's no.
If you're in a hospital and they did something, they could see that and so we got to act fast.
Right.
That child is suffocating.
Right.
But they were doing it at home. Naturally.
Yeah. No. So, baby's dead, which I'm surprised. Baby's dead. There wasn't listening
for.
There was no attempt to revive the baby. There was no listen for a heartbeat. There was no.
I think the condition of the baby, told them that the baby died in utero.
Okay.
It wasn't if we had 10 seconds to save this baby. I think I'm going to accept, for the sake of narration, unless there's something we learn, that it isn't the baby's death wasn't
preventable.
The baby's survival wasn't hampered by the women not knowing what they're doing.
Okay. Sure. But that is okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We have to.
I think
we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to go down that rabbit hole. That's not a plot. Yeah. That's just, the baby's dead. So that sent of Mathew kind of a little further down to the...
Oh, Audie says hello.
Hey, Audie.
She sends love. Hi, Audie.
Hey. So I think that sent of Mathew kind of deeper into the...
Audie, are you going to let us know if you're up to date? Because we're on episode 8 now. Spoiler alert.
So then we go through a lot of Aunt Lydia stuff, which we'll get to in a little bit. We get to the store, and it looks like... Oh, and so then she's not allowed to talk to anybody. No, so Mathew can't talk to anybody. She's kind of isolated, which will drive anybody insane.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a society like this, when all you have is your handmaid friends,
mm-hmm.
and they won't even talk to you. So
mm-hmm.
that really probably sent
Except
her...
for the crazy one.
Right. And she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're feeling like, am I crazy? And so when they see her at the store at Loaves and Fishes, she's kind of afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like... I would see it again, maybe. Do we see her kind of afraid? She walks in.
She's still always just Little Miss upset because, everyone's treating her like shit. But, Janine, grabs onto her and Janine's just blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I'm sure Janine is thinking, everything will be fine if we just focus on the fruit cocktail. Here, look,
Right.
Here's some frozen shrimp. It looked like there was a shrimp on that.
Sure.
Little frozen can or something.
Sure. And so, what actually sets her off?
I think she's looking at June, and June kind of looks at her like, you only got one way out, and then she goes off on Janine.
So, Aunt Lydia calls her over, I want to talk to you.
Right.
And Aunt Lydia is telling her,
they're going to take her out of the Lawrence's household.
Right. So what was the thing that was the tipping point of Mathew?
It just seemed like she was just ready to bust.
Okay.
It wasn't like an inciting incident. It was just the balloon was just blown up, and now it was ready to pop.
She went from oh gosh, dang it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't have a clue.
He had it in the chair over there.
No, she went from normal to crazy, faster than Daenerys went normal to crazy.
A switch definitely
See, it can happen quickly, Audie.
A switch went off on Mathew, and so she basically, poor Janine is just the pinata of Handmaid's Tale.
Punching bag,
she
poor
is
girl.
Getting it in the series.
Well,
and so I guess she was just she just had the closest thing, and you're the closest one, so you're going to get
shut up.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true.
Wait, which one? Who?
Of
Janine,
crazy.
One eye.
Oh.
One eye.
I think she's okay. She's probably beat up, but it didn't really
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Oh, no, she's not dead.
Janine has been through a whole lot worse.
She's been through a lot.
Oh, that poor girl.
Okay.
She still is relatively optimistic about
So,
things.
yeah, but with one nod, when she got the gun from the guard, and with one nod, it's June's get Lydia.
Well, she killed the guard.
She killed the guy.
She broke that jar across him, and it slashed his throat.
And she took his gun, and like she was looking.
But that was the thing. June kind of. If she was going for June, I would understand it.
Right.
But then June was like, "It's really Lydia's fault," and then she was like, "Going to go for Lydia." So
I thought, well, before they shot her, I thought she was going to like pull the trigger and the safety would be on the gun or something.
Right.
But what I did think was interesting about this episode was, I don't think they've done it before. This may have been the first time I've seen it. Is that they were doing a lot of point of view camera angles from underneath. The Handmaid's
the wings.
hat.
I think they call them.
Yeah. All right. So. Mathew was shot.
Should we talk about the camera work on that gun? I think that was ill-advised. The gun was definitely attached to something.
Right.
And as she was swinging around, but I could see how... The thing that took me out of it is, like, she was kind of bending away from it. It's like she had to pull it with her.
Okay.
And then it was very clear, like, the gun was not attached to her hands. I mean, she was holding it. But it was like part
attached
of the camera
to a dolly.
rig. It was part of the rig.
Yeah.
And so her trying to pull it around, it didn't look like
a pan.
Yeah, it looked like she was pulling that gun behind her.
Huh.
Anyway, I don't know. I noticed that, and I'm like, because they're trying to get the shot, down the barrel of the gun.
Right. Right. That didn't bother me so much.
All right, so the main part of the episode.
So the main part of the episode, big thing is we found out a little bit of backstory of Aunt Lydia.
On Aunt Lydia.
Now, I had watched...
Audie, if you're still watching, and you haven't watched these 2 episodes, you got time tonight before you have to go to bed, get up early for your training in a mystery location that we're not going to reveal live on the internet. So watch these 2 episodes, because they're really good.
It's San Diego.
She's staying at the Quality Inn on the east side.
Remember 209.
I watched... the reason why I knew the backstory a little bit was because I watched an interview with Ann Dowell, who plays Aunt Lydia, when she won her Emmy. And they were asking her, like, just kind of actorly, like, what's your process, da-da-da-da. And one of the things she said was she had to come up... every actor has to have, like, a backstory to kind of get in the mindset. Mm-hmm. And she had discussed with the writers, because it's not ever discussed in the books, that she wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
But I think originally in the interview she was like a high school teacher. Mm-hmm. So she had a lot of younger girls at her tutelage.
Got it.
But she said she was a teacher, and that, like Mark said, she always meant well. It was always in the best... what she thought was the best interest of the students or the people. And so that's how she kind of came into the fold of, like, being an Aunt Lydia, being an aunt. So I thought that was interesting, and how maybe she, like, helped develop this character. I don't know how that works out with writers, but so basically Aunt Lydia was an elementary school teacher. She seemed like a nice teacher at first, and she took in maybe a mom who maybe
single mom struggling, and we all know that kind of person, and I try not to judge someone who's just trying to make it happen. Mm-hmm. You get the job where you get the job, and that's where you just kind of tough it out. But I sense that Aunt Lydia was always judgy. There was always a little judginess in her voice of the mom situation. So she basically took the family in, right, under her wing. Right. She gives her an option to go have dinner with her,
right,
instead of like
going to McDonald's or whatever. So she takes them under their wing, and then she kind of helps the mom think about her options and getting a better job. She doesn't have to work with men, so that was one
And it all worked out. She got a job in retail,
but it seemed like
makeup counter at Macy's or whatever.
She dumped her loser boyfriend. She was
but then she started having an affair with a married man.
Oh, an IT professional. But it seemed like Aunt Lydia had some issues with men in specific. Because she told her, you need to work somewhere where there's not a lot of men.
Right.
Right? And her first husband was a mistake. Like, it wasn't just it didn't end well. It was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
So I'm curious about that. Find out more about that.
Well, the intimate moment she had with Noelle on the makeup.
Right.
It really looked like, whether they we're going for that or not, that Aunt Lydia wanted something that she
was forbidden.
Forbidden
fruit.
Forbidden fruit. Which
Yeah.
may be what prompted her when she went out on her New Year's Eve date with Principal Jim
To really try to make this happen.
really try, because all the time we're thinking he's gonna try to take more than he deserves, and maybe she tried to give him more, because she's trying to cover for what she'd rather have.
Her hidden sins.
Gender traitor.
Right. I don't believe in that, but okay. So she went on this date with Jim, the principal. And like 98% of the date was fantastic for what it looked like.
It was sweet. It was first date, New Year's, no expectations.
They were making out.
They're making out.
She rounds the second. And he just wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
I think that's fair. And I think he communicated that. I mean, he didn't seem. I think they did a good job. Like, he was like, "Ugh, get off of me."
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, can we just slow down? I think it was more of like a slow down.
Yeah.
And she did not take it well.
She didn't take it well.
At all.
At all.
She really went.
Surprised she didn't have bandages on those hands after she.
Right?
And she basically blamed the failure of that date, which wasn't a failure. It was just a little bit
at all.
She blamed it on Noelle.
Yeah, I mean, she could. I mean, if it was me, I would have like regrouped. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just being aggressive. I made cocktails. Let's just segue to cocktail. Like, just let's go into the drinks,
Or even if it was like, let's call it a night now.
But he was like,
said, I want to see you again. You could have like regrouped, come back and said, we'll take it slower.
I'm really sorry. I just was into it. I will.
Instead, Noelle turned me into a slut. She's a whore. Take her child away.
Yeah. What the fuck? So she turns on the family. She turns on Noelle and the family. He's automatically in a foster home. Which, your point makes sense. Like, what? Because Child Protective Services doesn't, automatically cover.
Yeah. But I think this shows that the State of the Union was already tipping towards the Gilead style of things.
Like certain states or certain cities.
And that that it was still kind of early, and we saw this in June's flashbacks, things were changing, but no one believed that they were changing. That they didn't understand how badly it was changing,
right?
Until it was too late.
Too late. Well, they had completely bombed the Senate or whatever happened. Okay. So she turns the family in, and then she just went complete dark side.
Yeah.
It was all in. She never turned around. She never...
And I feel like she kind of felt like that's her calling, to make these choices.
Because you're not able to make them yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, her hair was in a tight French twist. She had a sweater on, skirt down to her ankle. She completely just...
Tights.
Because before she had, flowy hair and just, flowy hippie kind of clothes and just...
I was about to say that hippie hair.
Yeah, or she had that, cool vibe, and then she was just like, nope. In a bun.
Yeah.
Meaning business. This is a good... I like this episode. This is really good.
Great episode.
I like this episode. I think they're trying to get Ann Dowell another fucking Emmy.
Yeah.
For sure with this season.
She'll be nominated for sure.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's really good. What a treasure.
Well... Is she nominated? We have Emmy nominations.
Yeah, they're already out.
So
I don't know if that would count. Would that count for this season or for last season?
Probably count for. Yeah, I think we skipped.
This would have just came out because they're not doing one a week after that initial poll. So this is probably for the next Emmys.
Excuse me. All right, that's everything.
All right, so that's season 3, episode 8.
Unfit.
So, you go in, Dad. Oh, my drink. Oh, it's in my lab.
Oh, boy.
No more drinks for me. So, we're the Nice Drunk Watch.
And now our talk has ended. Good night, everybody.